So pandemonium erupted last week or a couple weeks ago when it was circulated online that the possibility lies that NCLEX, yes, your state board nursing exam that nurses take in the US, Canada, and Australia from the United States may be going remote. Yeah, you see my eyes? Come. We have to dive into this one. So welcome back to everyone, and welcome back to the new followers. Welcome back to the family. Welcome back to everyone that keeps watching us, and a big thank you to you. All right. So as I stated before, pandemonium erupted and it was being circulated all across the nursing profession last week and a couple weeks ago, all across all social media, that the possibility lies that NCLEX will be going remote. And if you don't know, remote means that you can take your exam from home. So we're going to play a video and we're going to talk about it after. So stay and watch this video.
The world's premier licensure exam will be more convenient than ever. Imagine being able to NCLEX online, giving you more choice and easier access. Imagine being able to NCLEX at home. Bring the exam for the real world of nursing right to the comfort of your room. And with more flexible hours, imagine being able to NCLEX anytime that works for you. It's all thanks to enhanced technology and monitoring that ensures a proper testing environment and the utmost in exam fairness and integrity. No matter where you take the NCLEX, it's still the same world-class exam, with computer adaptive testing to measure your ability and case studies that look like real life. Visit NCLEX.com to learn more and sign up to receive email updates on when you can NCLEX online. Where you take your nursing career is up to you, and so is where you take the NCLEX.
All right, so the NCSBN, which is the National Council for State Board Nursing, is exploring technology that would allow candidates to take the NCLEX outside of traditional centers. So if you don't know, registered nurses, especially within the United States, have to take their state board exam after completion of their 2-year or their 4-year degree program or diploma. They go to a testing center to get their exams done, and then they get their PIN and their license number. So it was published on the NCLEX.com site that they are now proposing a new study that indicates that they are looking into allowing these nurses to take their exams come 2026 online. So that means that they can take it from home, right? Now, according to them, and that's NCLEX.com, this way to take the NCLEX will offer more candidates more convenience, and that's what they said. They're looking at convenience. Now, the possibilities of them going remote, they listed that this will cause more flexibility in hours, allowing more persons to have the time to take the exams, greater comfort, more choice, and easier access. Some of these are, for me, are a bit relative though. But furthermore, in the video that they explain is that our enhanced technology and monitoring will ensure a proper testing environment and the utmost in exam fairness and integrity. So meaning that they're lining up technology to ensure utmost fairness and integrity, because my light bulbs went up when they talked about this. Now, with this going remote, they're stating that the things that will be implemented will include ID validation. So you will have to validate yourself before you take this exam with a government ID that is established. You will have object detection. This means that they're going to detect if you have any unnecessary objects in your room, and you're going to have to get rid of that. The next one will include an environmental scan. So they're going to use a phone, I think, or use your phone to do an environmental scan, like a 360, to make sure nobody else is in the room when you're taking that exam. You don't have any prompts, no anything to cause you to jeopardize the integrity of the exam. So that's it with the NCLEX and the possibilities of it going remote. So I said before, pandemonium erupted and everybody was running with it because it was published on their site. But we did do our necessary checks and fact checking, and the organizations did stated that even though it is published on their site for 2026, it means that they're doing a proposal. It's a proposed project. So this doesn't mean that it's going to be implemented in 2026. But I said to myself that we should have, talked about that. Like set it a little better so people would understand. Because if you go on a site and see 2026, 2026 we're expecting something. Now recently they also had a meeting. I think NCLEX did have a meeting with with a lot of persons, and I saw that they gave their reviews also of what they're expecting from the proposal of having the NCLEX online. Now, a lot of nurses I saw online gave their feedback. Quite a number of persons were saying, yes, I welcome this. I appreciate it because it helped to decrease the anxieties that I had going to a testing center. Other persons were on the fence saying, no, 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 no. Send them to the testing centers. Send them to the testing centers. So if you're going in with glasses, they take off your glasses to check to see if you have a camera on there. Shake out your clothing. You have to leave your phone outside. And they believe that having the testing centers will have more credibility to the exam and decrease the risk of cheating. So what does Empowered RN think? All right, so going further into this, when I saw it, I too had my reservations with this. My biggest reservation is security. Before we move to security though, I want to touch on the point that they made, that they want to make the exam more convenient. They want to give more access to individuals. No, I appreciate that. But there is a but. I understand that you want to give more access to individuals. And when we speak of access, we have to look at technology. If you're going to give more access to individuals, how many individuals do actually have access? If we're going to give access to more individuals, let's just break it down. And we're going to touch on all the different points. So we're looking at giving more access, right? But we have to be careful how we talk about access, because when you talk about, say, oh, I'm going to give everybody access, does this mean that everybody literally will get access? I strongly believe that access is relative. Yes, we want to give more flexibility and we want to give more ease of access and convenience, but we have to be careful in how we talk about convenience. Convenience, making things more convenient, can end up hurting us in the end. And that is my fair and balanced analysis. Now, the other big thing is that other concern that I have, so we're looking at the consequences, then I look at the pros. Other concern that I have is my concern of security. We talk about credibility, yes. Concerns is of security. They did note that they're going to be using AI, which is of the strongest technology that they're going to use to establish proper security measures. And my thing is, no matter how strong your technology is, you could use the best of the best. Something, honey, something. Reason why I say that, we have seen it. I have seen banking, transportation, air, everywhere have issues and threats to their security already. And I'm sure these different departments and organizations are using the best of the best. So we have to be careful with that. The next thing that I wanted to make sure too, before we make a move to online and remote with regards to the NCLEX, did we have consultations with nursing educators who are actually in the classroom and working with our nurses to see if they will be really ready for something like this? This is something that I wanted to find more information on. Now, the pros, we did talk a little bit more about the pros, which talked about giving access to persons. And I said that access can be relative. Now, the next thing is that the next big thing for this exam too that we need to look at is, I see a lot of my international nurses were saying, yes, we welcome this, because guess what? The remote access is not only for nurses living within the United States. Those are your domestic nurses. It's also appropriate and will be accessible for the nurses who are living outside of the United States. So this actually means that if you're getting ready now and you want to take the NCLEX and want to go to the United States, the possibility lies that come 2026, remember, it is a proposed project. Possibility lies that you can take this exam from anywhere in your home country outside of the United States. That is good. I welcome access in terms of that, and I welcome that. Now, I saw everybody jumping up and down, especially my internationals, and saying, yes, we welcome this. And not only for the internationals too, but I want to raise this valid point. If you're going to be given the opportunity to take an exam from home, and this is like your state board exam, do you think that this would be an easy exam to pass? Ask yourself that. And I know a lot of persons will welcome it to decrease transportation, to decrease cost, but I'm going to tell you this. Some persons may not like it, but a testing center will do. And you do have the option to take either remote or go to a testing center. We may have opposing views, but somebody who has gone through the rigors already, take it from me, I support change, but in the meantime, before this happens, especially internationals, find a testing center. If you want to go remote, no problems with that. But for me, find a testing center. You know why I say this? I say this because imagine taking yourself and say that you're moving to a new country. And when you move to a new country, you did everything the correct way, you took your exam from home and you know you passed fair and square. Imagine when you go to that new country and persons ask you where you took your exam and you say, oh, I took it from home. Doesn't that leave some credibility, like a loophole there for persons to question if you actually did this on good merit? So I wouldn't want to be walking around like that with a new country with someone and knowing that I took my exam from home, even though I knew I passed, I did not cheat or anything. But be careful with it and look at it how it will affect you in terms of employment and in terms of credibility. And that's my biggest thing too, credibility. The other thing that I want to touch on too is we are going to be allowing our nurses to take their state board exams from home. Are we going to be allowing doctors and lawyers to take their exams from home also? I have concerns with it. Somebody did mention online that it looks like we're lowering the profession when we do something like this, and it can look like that too in terms of credibility. You always have to remember that with technology comes access. You said yes, but there's always a threat, and there will always exist a threat. I believe that the testing centers are best. It is cut across the board, stronger security measures where everybody comes in and you have a fair and balanced in terms of how people take the exams. That's what I believe. What happens when that internet fails or the technology fails? Will you have the opportunity to restart or go back? Or will you be flagged as possible cheating? There are so many gray areas, and those are my concerns. Some persons have talked about that we should knock something as yet before it comes. And you know, this is just my 2 cents, but let us see when it comes what happens. And this is just my view. Your view may be different, and we can have our discussion in the comment section. Persons talked about that before we reached testing centers. It was NCLEX was taken, I think, once or twice a year in the United States, and everybody had to apply and then go to one specific center, I think, in their state, until they allowed more testing centers throughout. So the NCLEX did evolve. So now they're saying that we're evolving to now here to remote. Now the biggest other question I want to ask: if the US does come through with something like this and does instill this in 2026, will countries like Canada, who uses the NCLEX, and Australia, who uses the NCLEX, will they be pushed to also utilize remote testing centers from home? You will still have the opportunity to take the exam from your home, or even go to a testing center. So there are a lot of things to digest in this video. We welcome change, and we do welcome whether it is positive or negative, because that's how something will grow. But let us see. Remember, this is a proposed project, something that they're working on. It's not expected to come through for 2026 because it is proposed. But let's see what will happen. But before you make a choice whether you want to take this exam from home or going to a testing center, weigh your pros and the cons. Look also at your future. So many other things we can digest in this video, but let me hear from my subscribers. Do you support the NCLEX to be taken remote anywhere in the world from home, or going to a testing center? What do you subscribe and why? Let's have a discussion in the comment section, and see you in another video. Thank you guys so much for watching.